right over it. How was everybody doing? 150 at the dish. Kiko has his customary iPod issue.
Yo, hold on.
Nice and cold there today.
No, hold on. All right, give me a test count. Audio count.
Yeah, that's okay. All right.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
4, 5, 6.
There you go. Is it
Oh, better
cold
now.
here? Not right now. Let me see. It's 5-2, 52.
Yeah, cold for me.
High today is 6-2 with lots of rain.
I tell you, living next to that lake was a mother. I've seen the temperature drop on the old Allen Bradley clock, which they updated after all these years. It was one of the fourth. It was the fourth. It was the largest four-phase clock in the world at one point, and they changed it.
On Tuesday, the high is going to be 35. That's the high next Tuesday.
Okay.
So,
I had it warmer at 25 with no wind off the lake than it did when it was 45 with the wind coming off the lake.
right.
Felt better at 25. That wind is the wind off the lake, man. When I lived in Ohio, we were in a valley, so we were always kind of shielded from all that blistering wind,
I've heard people say that 55 degrees in San Francisco feels colder than a winter day in the Midwest if the wind's blowing,
Well, I've been I can attest to my experience. I was standing on top of Goldgate Bridge in I think it was 99, and it was 52 degrees and windy. It wasn't bad. I was up on the bridge and watching the currents coming in, going out. It looked like a river, strong, But my daughter took me up. We got there too late in the afternoon. I think we got there at 2:30 or 3 o'clock. What I liked about being out there was I got to watch my football game 2 hours earlier.
Right.
And walk out the door, it felt like a spring day.
Yeah, the late night games weren't late.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Yogi Berra said, it gets late early out here.
Yeah. Yeah. I was there on a Thursday afternoon and Alcatraz wasn't open. Believe it. I bought a Hardy T-shirt from I think the dealership name near the board. What do you call it? Was Taylor or something like that. Fisherman's Wharf.
How many guys escaped from Alcatraz? Was it 2 or something?
I don't know.
That's
The
probably
3 dudes.
Google.
A lot tried.
Yeah.
But as far as we know, maybe 1 out of 3 made it with them 3 white guys.
Today is April 4th. 41 years ago today, I went to boot camp.
41, April 4th. What year?
I got off the bus 4/4/84.
Oh, I was out the year before that.
I didn't go in until I was what, 20, 21, 22.
Yeah, when I was in
I was
there,
the
man,
old man at boot camp, I think.
yeah, yeah, we had guys that were 22 and 28. A couple of them were 35, and one guy was 42. There were no jobs. He came back in after being away for years, but he was always had a profile, which means he didn't have to do any of the calisthenics and all that shit. He
Yeah.
wasn't gonna break. He wasn't gonna break any track records either. So,
We,
but
we,
we had this
yeah.
guy. We had this guy named Campbell from Detroit, black dude, and this other. He was 35, and then we had a younger guy named Blackman. Well, Campbell, he had his duty for that day was he buffed, stripped, and washed and waxed those floors, and did it with the wax with the buffler.
Uh-huh.
Had those things looking great, man. Blackman comes in there and scuffs that fucker up with his heel purposely.
Uh,
And the other guy, Campbell, cut him. He cut him in the neck, just missing that big.
all right.
But he got kicked out after that or let go.
Who, Campbell did? Or
Yeah, he was a
Blackman?
family man. He was a family man too.
Yeah, we had what's called flights, and you're ahead of like the 40 guys, right? And when we first got there, I was older and I was married and I had my son had just turned like a year old while I was in boot camp, started walking. So the drill instructor's looking around. He said, I'm looking for a name, and everyone tries to hide, because we're told, no, you don't want to be volunteer for anything. And then this other dude, I guess he was about the same age as me, married, but he came in with like as an E2 or something, or E3, because he had college, right? He had at least 45 credits of college. So it'd be higher ranking than me. I only came in as an E2. He was going to graduate as an E3 from boot camp, right?
Uh-huh.
So the drill instructor, he picked him. So he ended up being the leader of all 40 guys. So that guy takes all the shit, right, from the drill instructor. Every time anyone screws up, it's like daily he's in the drill instructor's office, trying to answer for something stupid that somebody did, So I'm glad I didn't get that rule, man. I kind of kept under the radar and just graduated,
Well, we had a guy named Brown. He had a couple years of college, so he got PFC right away. And we had this cool dude too. He was like the tallest white guy I've ever seen. His name was Alan. I forget his. We took photos. We went down to see, when we were in Bliss. He always spoke up for us, man. We had to PFC was messing with us all the time, messing with us because we were white. And he said, I don't like what you're doing to my friends, Brown. I thought, jeez, we've been your friend for about a week, man. But Alan was big, man, big dude. Had a good time with him.
We had a dude who was 6'7", man. I thought there were limits, on how tall, but I guess as long as he wasn't going to be a pilot, it didn't matter.
Or drive a tank.
It's like fucking Lurch, 6'7".
Yeah, Omar Bradley was still had an office there. He was still alive at that time.
Really?
Yeah, we were told that we had to keep the noise down because he's been known to come out.
Where's that, Bliss?
At Fort Bliss, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I only remember one day of humidity because and one day I got there in end of April, left in July, and one day humidity. Usually the humidity was only like 2% in El Paso. We were in the desert out there 2 weeks in New Mexico.
Yeah. My wife has a real good Filipina friend first Filipina that she met when she got here 25 years ago. And her and her old man have since divorced, but I think I told you it's a crazy ass divorce. I don't know if he just told her, look, I'm getting old. Maybe he had ED or something, and he's like, look, I can't be a good husband to you anymore. He said, let's just get, friendly divorce. She went back, sponsored her high school sweetheart, a guy from the Philippines, because she had her American citizenship, brought him over on a fiance visa and married him. They're all living together in the same house.
Gee.
Her and the new husband have a new baby. I mean, she was, late 40s? She had because this kid, he was an only child in the Philippines, and he didn't, his parents didn't have any grandkids. He wanted to have a child, but she did. And the child had some kind of problem. They operated on the baby while it was still in the womb, That's how far she went. And now it's a healthy, 1-year-old, But man, it's an amazing situation. But the guy, he was cool about it. He said, look, I can't be a husband to you anymore, at least in respect, He was probably 20 years older than her, right? Or 15, like me. So
yeah.
He said, well, go, if that's what you want, go for it. And she did. And now they're all happy. The Filipino works. Her husband, Filipino, they both work. Like he's at Walmart, and she's at a grocery store. And he gets like $800 from the VA for a disability. So I guess with all of them pitching in, they survive. But anyway, what I was saying, they had a son together like 22 years ago. And he's in boot camp right now, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Right? Isn't that where they have boot camp?
I have no idea.
Yeah, he's at Fort Jackson, and I think he's got, how many weeks is Army? 8, 12?
8.
No, Marine was 12, but I think he graduates sometime later in April.
8 or 9.
Army boot camp. But he's kind of old too. He went in like 21 or 22. So I didn't ask. I told my wife, I said, ask her if he knows what his job's going to be, his MOS, I'd like to find out what he's going to be doing.
He's still in?
He's just graduating boot camp. I mean, he's in the, he's 22, I think.
Who's this? Oh, their kid. Okay.
Yeah, their son that they had together.
Yeah.
One son and one daughter together.
I had a cousin Bonnie that, her mom passed away. That was about 5 years ago, maybe. Still a good looking face, but body's big. But she her husband, she got married when they were young. She was young. I remember when I was a little kid. We were on the east side of Milwaukee at the church. That's when we fired the rice at the face, She divorced him early on. Her daughter had a daughter with him, and she married this guy named Bill. And Bill was all of a sudden he didn't want to work no more. He got lazy. She had a new boyfriend, and her ex-husband lived with her up until they moved on to Kentucky. My cousin Bonnie and her daughter.
What happened to Bill?
I don't know, man. Bill had to find somewhere else to flop.
So she married Bill. She had a boyfriend besides Bill.
Yeah. Yeah, she was still legally married to him at that time. He didn't have nowhere to go, man. She felt sorry for him. But I don't remember. The first guy was more of a wild. He died in his 60s, I think. He's a real wild child kind of guy. Yeah, go in the bedroom. Put your cup. Go get your thing. I'm going to go.
Why?
Go. I'm not trying to talk here. Okay? Go, yeah. Well, the kid's addicted to these computer games. Would you open that door? And close it on the other side. All the way. Boy. So I'm looking at his, every quarter or every semester, whatever, they send this book, of their work for that period of time. And I look on there, and he's only got like 60 total questions. He gets 29 on half, and they never say nothing. And I'm like, I'm gonna ask. I realize you want to pass people because they you pay, we pay. But I don't get that, man. What is it? What's not happening here? I mean, he's now dumbass, but they adopted that shit in the Milwaukee public school system where they pass everybody now, regardless of straight D's and F's. They don't care.
Yeah, that's why they get people graduating high school that can't even read.
Well, they don't want to feel left out. Well, the problem is, really, I mean, honest to God, I was thinking about the other day. They could actually stop school after junior high. I was in my last class. I was in junior high when that was the last year that ninth grade was in the middle school. They moved it to high school the next year. But really, for me, middle school, that was all I needed to do what I've done in life and what I've learned. I mean, you learn more shit from other people, like hands-on kind of thing. But I just think the high school years was a waste of time. How much improvement can you do on reading and writing? You know how to communicate. You know how to write. It might look. It might look.
Back when you and I were in school, they still had a VOTEC. They called it shop class, or
yeah.
They had either shop or auto mechanics, and something where you could start to learn a trade, or for people who weren't that gifted academically.
We had ours associated with the technical college downtown.
Oh yeah.
So you'd go do 4 hours of that class, and then go downtown. In the afternoon, get out of school at 11 a.m. or noon, and go down there and do 4 hours. Something like that.
Yeah, that's it.
But we went down. We were in there, engine lathe, and we had a teacher named Mr. Bird, and he's a pretty cool guy. But they give you this bar stock, and then you cut it down in steps, so you measure the basic, thousands, half, quarter, 750, half, 500, 250, so we're from the same school, all of us. In that class, about 8 of us, I think, and we're cutting there. You got to use oil, lube oil, and we all just poured shit all over that thing, man. That whole room was smoking. That was our fun afternoon, And I got home.
The shop teachers were usually pretty cool. They were usually the ones that smoked reefer themselves, So
well,
they didn't have problems with the boys going out and taking a little break. You know what I mean?
Let me tell you, I'm pretty sure I told the story, but my auto shop teacher, Mr. Annis, he had hair like Tiny Tim. He had this rosacea because his cheeks were always real red.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't do it all the time, but I was outside, getting high, and just a little bit. And I go into class, and so I was the freak athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And these Spanish students didn't have books, but the fucking books were expensive. Oh my God! It was like, how come you don't have your book? I go, you're trying to act like a bad guy,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm high, so everything he does, I'm laughing at him. I said, those guys don't have books. You don't say nothing to them. He said, you're high. I said, no, you are.
Mm-hmm.
I can't help but fucking laugh. I turn around, my friends laughing. What are you going to do to me? And the fact he was trying to act like he was some hard ass, man. He was a pussy. Oh, I have a good mind. Yeah, okay, we hear that, man.
He
fucking
looked like
old.
Tiny Tim, huh?
Yeah, well, yeah, he had a haircut like Tiny Tim. He looked like the kind of guy if you were out like that always got his ass kicked in school, like Christian. So when he was trying to sound big and bad, and I'm sitting there, I laugh at everything, man. And I'm like, fucker,
Especially when you're stoned.
you're high. I said, no, you are, man. Why don't you have your book? I can smell, fuck you, fucker. I think it was $30 or $50. It was really outrageous. It was a big book. But I mean, you got 15 guys standing around one fucking car, and you can't really see what or what the hell he's talking about, unless you've seen it. Yeah, unless you've seen it being done. Oh my God, that was hilarious. My mom said She said one afternoon I come home and she said, she goes, "You're high." I said, "No, I'm not." She said, "Yeah, I know it. I know it. I know what people look like when they do that." You know, she was nice about it. She would have done. My dad didn't know the smell of that shit and none of that stuff. But I mean, I wasn't a fanatic, but um,
My mom and dad had no clue. I come home, my eyes must have been purple, you know. And my mother, she had the most sensitive nose for smell in the world, but I'm glad she didn't know what pot smelled like because I must have smelled
told
like a
my
Colombian forest coming home.
I told my I told my dad it was incense. Well, he was creeping up the stairs because that fellow, my mom, all her kids were always in trouble doing that shit. So she probably said something. Oh, and then he come up there creeping. You only heard the door a little bit, but I'm sitting there going, all of a sudden I just got done taking a hit. I lowered my arm. Boom! Fucker bust through the door, through the door. I was like, shit fell off of that. He goes, "What's that smell?" I said, "Incense." He goes, "Where is it?" He goes, "Oh, there it is." He stepped on it. I kept that fucking road curled up in my hand. And I'm like, my friend says, "I can't believe you said that." I said, he'd have threw me out, God, they ain't fucking around. I'd have been hanging out the window. Shit. Yeah, there was no in between talking to you about shit. You just fucking take a smack. He was an asshole that way. You still love your parents though, but when I was a kid and I needed a dad, he was more like, you wait till you do something and fuck it up, then show you, not beforehand. He had no patience. He was an asshole.
Well, I'll tell you, yesterday I was driving yesterday morning. I had a woman. I think it must have been a woman. Almost take me out, man.
Oh,
I
nothing
was
to that.
I was driving. I merged onto a road, but just as I merged on, the traffic coming the other way was stopped at a red light, right? And they have a small left turn lane. Well, this I think it was a big SUV like a Jeep Cherokee or something, comes
Hmm.
swinging out blind from behind pickup truck, you know, in the opposite direction from me, right? I'm driving in my lane and she doesn't have enough of a left turn lane to get into yet. She's swinging out into my lane. And I'll tell you what, I yanked that steering wheel to the right. I don't know how I swerved and missed her, but I didn't hear any contact, so I just kept going. But
I took off 2 times from an accident. One time, one time I was at school and I barely nicked this guy's bumper, and then 'cause he don't know any English. And then this one lady, the girl says, "I said you hit this car." I said, "No, I didn't." I left. Another time, just bought a 12 pack. I'm 16. I got my '68 Skyline. It's snowing out. We're driving like way too fast for conditions. And there's so much snow. It was piled up real high on a median. So I'm going through this, and the fucker won't stop. And here comes this car, T-bone that fucker. Oh, or the between the door and the rear quarter. They must have crushed it enough because he turned around, because I kept going. My car. If you know what a Skylark looked like,
Yeah.
lines wise, well, it was flat as a wall, man. And all of a sudden he sees his lights. He's way down the road, but then he probably couldn't keep up.
So you
And
you hit his back quarter panel style,
yeah.
his passenger rear
No, driver's side.
side. And you said you spun him around?
Yeah. Well, hell yeah, man. I hit him hard, man. It was
And
snowing out.
But you kept going.
Yeah.
Nobody ever caught you.
Nah. No, I told my dad some bullshit. I said, yeah, somebody backed into me at the parking lot at Pizza Hut. What was I gonna say, And his friend Dennis, they've been friends since I was like 12. Yeah, he was at my dad's funeral. He said, my dad said, yeah. Dennis said it must have been some kind of. He goes, don't give me that bullshit. You hit something harder than that. I said, yeah, man, I can't. What can I say? I said, well, maybe it was a tow truck.
Why was the bumper all fucked up?
Fuck, it was flat. The front end was flat. It was flat. And it jammed. It must have jammed the motor into the tranny or some shit because I had a 6 Street 6 in it.
It didn't run too good after that, huh?
No, it wouldn't run at all. My uncle came. One of my uncles came. I was over at my friend's house we were drinking, but that wasn't why. I mean, it was just going too fast. We had just bought beer.
Get away. How far did you get away if it wasn't running after that?
Nah, man. Well, no, we got. I fucker was joking. And then, so I had my mom, one of my uncles, come down there. It wouldn't start. Something must have jammed the front end with the motor and the trans. Because it was huffing and puffing. I was chugging. I was hoping it wasn't going to quit on me.
Did it make it home or no?
We made it to my friend's house. I don't know how I got it home after that. I don't know what the hell. I think I scrapped it.
Yeah.
I took it. No. As a matter of fact, I don't know what we did to get it going, but I don't remember because I took it to school like that. Because I left the one by my neighborhood and I went to a different one. And I went there for about 6 months or 8 months, something like that. But I remember driving it past, at school. Where you don't get noticed that much, but when your car is fucking looking like, literally like you hit a wall. I learned, I got creative with my bullshit and lies to my dad. He didn't accept the truth good, I'd be better. I was better if I was thinking up my stuff in my head, because I knew what
Christian, what's that? Is that the place you live?
Yeah, it's 5 minutes walk from where I live.
Oh, I see.
Well, I can't tell. What is that? Fisheye lens on there?
What's the temperature there today?
6, 7.
I'd say 8.
Yeah, ocean is over there.
Yeah, what's the temperature?
It's, about 19 degrees Celsius, I think.
Wow.
That's okay.
But a little windy.
Uh-huh.
Of course, off the water coming from the west.
Up there is the fortress.
Yeah. You got a fisheye lens on that phone? Is that your phone?
My phone, yeah. No, I don't have I can't zoom on it in StreamYard.
Oh, okay. It looks cold, but here I am sitting with the air conditioner running. I got a pair of shorts on, you know. I every day I take my wife, my son to school, and then when I get home I take my shirt off. Every day. I wore shoes to this some little play they had at my son's school. And I felt like I had two big club boots on or some shit, you know, like you would put on to hike the hills in the wintertime. It just it was uncomfortable. If you ever want a good hotel to go to, they got Almont Inland Resort. It's right off of JC Aquino.
Oh yeah, the one in Butuan. Yeah,
Yeah, well they
the
had two.
Altamont or something like that.
Yeah, Altamont. They had two, but the one was down near St. Peter's. I think it was a tree on the square by the church. I thought they had one down there too because Greenwood used to be over there.
Now, when I was there, my wife was like, she's like, "Oh no, you don't have to stay in a hotel. We'll stay with my cousin." Fucking cousin. I mean, house. It was a wooden house, you know. Had no
Yeah.
screens on the windows, no air conditioning, and I'm sleeping on like this bamboo, you know, wood,
The
and
two
the
of you?
mosquitoes just biting the shit out of me all night long.
Hey, when I went back to Ohio where I lived when I was older, I was like 14. That's when I got in that trouble with the uncle catching us at the bar. But this was another time I got so freaking messed up that I was laying on the grass. You know, I didn't have no shirt on. I could feel freaking hundreds of mosquitoes biting the shit out of me. There was nothing I could do about it. You know, people walk by and laugh, and I go, "Fuck!" So I finally got my head up. I don't know how long I was up there. And Who comes to the house? Because everybody knows everybody. It's my auntie's nephew from her first marriage, Larry Arnold, big guy too. He goes, "Whose house this is?" I said, "I think it's Andrew Mauer's." You know, they had a plumbing business. Their parents did. I think it's Andrew Mauer's, Larry. I said, "You ain't gonna tell Auntie, are you?" No, no, no. He just come
Uh,
there to tell everybody to, go home.
the mosquitoes probably got drunk off of your blood.
Dude, they were fucking landing on me like it was like, oh my god. I had no energy, to fight it. Then on the way home, this friend of mine's jerking the fucking car, and I heave in his back seat, on the floor.
Yeah,
It's
that's
one of
what
those times.
the stuff you used to do when your friends are like, you can hear them in the back, they're about ready to throw up, and you like you start pumping the brakes and
Yeah, well,
get them over the edge, and then they
I don't
throw up
want
in
to.
your car. I mean, it wasn't to
Yeah,
your
I don't.
fault, really.
No, I ain't cool with that. I'm not gonna do that. I had a guy when I had my Cutlass, 71 Cutlass when I was in the Army in 80, I think in 80, 81. This guy got sick. His name was Duffy. I forget where he was from. But fucker, it was too late. It was late in the we got back, like 2 or 3 a.m., man. Because some bars in Illinois, they're open all night, depending on what county or district, whatever you're in. You come in there in the dark, you're leaving the sun's out. So the shit was caked on my rear window and quarter, and I was too tired to have to go get the hose out. 'Cause I lived in a barracks then, and that shit discolored my paint on the car.
I know
And
one time I was too messed up to drive my first car, my '66 Olds Cutlass. I was too drunk to drive home, so I let some girl drive, and I sat in the back seat, and then I ended up throwing up in my own back seat on the floor as she was driving. Oh well,
my
my own
auntie had a
fault.
65. My auntie had a 66 or 67 convertible, and she got hit by a transit bus. My uncle, she sold it back to my uncle that had it. He had that sitting in the garage for so long, the motor seized, and it was freaking nice. It was in great condition. and he had a 65 442 Muncie 4-speed. And I asked for I offered him $1,000 for it. He wouldn't take it. The car was just sitting there for so long that mice got up in the headliner, all over.
Oh man.
But a 425 4-speed Muncie 4-speed. No holes in it, not the body. Oh man. And that neighborhood wasn't the best to be in either.
Mine wasn't a true 442 because it wasn't a floor on the floor. It was an automatic.
Oh, mine was. Well, I had my 71 was auto, but I like the 70, the 72 better than my 71. The 72 had the orange paint with the white interior.
My oldest brother that did 2 tours in Vietnam, I loved his. He had a 64 Pontiac GTO. I loved that car.
You drive it while he was gone?
No, I was too young. Hell, he was over there in 67,
Hey,
68.
I like
we were only
those.
6, 7 years old.
I like those 1973. What was that? 12. And my cousin Tim was 13 and Steve was 12. The other two were 16 and 17. And we used to. My cousin Joe had a 3 in the tree, a Nova 2. He's a 62. And we go out there at night and listen to the grass. We had 8-track player. He had the grassroots, and we were jamming for hours. And then sure as shit in the morning. And Tim got blamed for everything because he was the instigator of everything. You'd hear his name get called out. Joe, God, he was pissed, man. Joe was the pretty boy. Mike was a taller. Mike and Tim looked more like a mom, and Steve and Joe looked like dad's side. But Mike was 6'3", all farm boy strength. And,
My first pickup truck was a 3 on the tree.
I drove those.
Old Chevy, 72 Chevy.
Matter of fact,
Still
there was
3 on the tree.
that was Joe's Nova. I drove that too. But we had a neighbor named Glenn, and I think it was Saturday or Sunday. My auntie, we'd always take a ride through the countryside and stop and get some apple cider, And one particular time we stayed there. They went out with their car. My uncle didn't care, And so we took Glenn's car. We took all Baltimore and Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Baltimore, Ohio had a railroad.
Right.
So they had backstops all over the place for us. Treated lumber, gristle, oil, whatever. And we went in there, man. We took turns beating this. We'd have the wheel crank. My cousin Tim's hanging out the back. The field's kind of muddy, so then it stalls on us. It lost water, so we started pissing in the radiator up. Tim took the rap for that too, man. Tim tried taking on Mike a couple times, and it would have been like an Abbott and Costello cartoon when they were mice. Because my uncle would say, "Mike, I'm sorry, Dad." Tim, he used to do shit that would affect people's lives in such a bad way. So we had a lot of fun though too, man. Snuck out that house, snuck back in. My uncle would have. Somebody pulled a fast one on my uncle. My cousin was. My uncle was 62 at the time. He was, my uncle had his 40. But one of his friends did a prank. They said, "Yeah, we had the son here. We arrested him for whatever." So my uncle was up there. He gets back, Mug is going, God damn, pull him up here, Steve. I was up here, Steve. Yeah. One of his fuck with Mug. But he didn't test something. You didn't. He said something to you, that was it, man. He said, you laying on the couch. If you're that tired, go upstairs and go to bed. He always had his ear open, you know. I put food up my cousin Steve. Late once. What do you, Christian? What are you in the woods or what?
No, he's out for
Yeah.
a walk along the beach.
No, it's I live like 9 minutes walk from the city center, but here is a place where a lot of the Sweden-Norwegian war took place.
The what?
The war between Sweden and Norway. Denmark owned Norway. Then Denmark gave Norway to Sweden. Then Norway said we want to be a country of our own. So we had a war with Sweden. And this place and the fortress was two very big places when that happened.
What was the years of that?
1600 something.
Uh-huh.
You know what? Sometimes governments want to fight for shit, and people are just like, they don't try too hard. I got a lot of that sweet stuff, boy. My grandma was Irish or British and Danish. Her mother was Dane or Dad, but her Bible was in Dutch and German. But he moved to Ireland because that last name, and my great grandmother's last name, Smith, Mary Smith. There's a Dodge in there. All kinds of good shit. Oh yeah, my grandfather was my dad. My mom's was Swedish and Scandinavian, a little bit of then. Walked up to the woods. These houses are off the ground pretty high, or what? Look like, it's a fence. Kind of looked like the house was up off the ground, like Kiko's.
Kiko's? Mine's a trailer. It's supposed to be off the ground.
Trailer, yeah. Yeah, it'll never roll on it.
Almost 3 feet off the ground.
Yeah. Doesn't yours get cold in winter, man? The walls ain't that thick, are they? They're not even a quarter.
Average cheap 2x4s.
Well,
I think my worst gas bill in the winter time was about $100. This past January was pretty cold, and I think I had a gas bill of $100. So that's not too bad.
I used to go outside when I was in Ohio with my hair wet, my jacket open. My auntie said, "What's the matter with you?" I go, "It's freaking warm here. 30 degrees." It was nice.
Yeah, I'll be back when I'm inside.
Okay. Yeah, I did that shit when I was my my ex was pregnant with our first kid. I moved from Pennsylvania down to Florida at Christmas time, and I'm out there in shorts and a t-shirt, you know, and all the Floridians are fucking bundled up in their coats. I could tell I was a snowbird, you know.
Was it in the 50s or 40s or 60s?
It was probably 58 to 60, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
For me, you know, coming from Pennsylvania, I was like, damn, this is beautiful.
Yeah. I used to cry every time. In the 90s, we went down there every year.
Our son that's in college down there in Tampa, he's got a rugby match tomorrow, playoff match. They're driving down to Miami for the playoff match.
The kid who was in the marching band at school plays rugby.
Yeah. But he's in college now. He's in his second year of college. And so he calls his mother every day, you know. So last night my wife was talking to him and he said, yeah, I overheard him. He said, yeah, we got a match on Saturday in Miami. He said, we're all gonna drive down and stay overnight Friday night. And my wife's now, you know, you'd be good. You know, I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
He's 20 years old going to Miami. I'm
Yeah.
like, what the hell? You know, with a bunch of his rugby teammates.
She didn't specify what.
I'm sure they're going to be in bed by 9 o'clock. You know?
Yeah. She didn't specify what time. That was.
She's a Filipina, you know. She thinks, you know, she don't quite know how America rolls all the time, you know. But anyways, as long as he don't get it, we have one of our good friends who, one of the first Filipinos she met when we got here. Her and her husband, American husband, had 2 kids, a boy and a girl. Their son, last Christmas Eve, died, like 21 years old or something. And we don't know how, but he was on life support. Now, he was either in an auto accident, which I don't think so. I think it might have been bad drugs, you know. Maybe it was like fentanyl or something, you know. Because I just saw, like, he's been, oh man, the guy's, you know, it's his only son. He's taking it really hard. He puts out Facebook posts like every day, pictures with his son, and you know, and then I saw his wife comment on one of the women. She said, "Yeah," she said, "just watch who your kids are friends with, because one bad friend can change your world." So, you know, maybe it was bad drugs. I don't know. You know, my wife doesn't even know. She doesn't really associate with her, because this woman's husband, when we met, we were all young. You know, when you first meet your Filipino, bring her over here, and you meet another guy who has a Filipino wife, you have to become friends, right? Because your wife's friends with his wife. So we'd sit around talking, and this guy was always like, yeah, man, I'm going to have my own business, own my own company. You know, he's like, I'm like, dude, you're working for a guy that owns a mansion, you know? But I mean, I didn't say that to him, you know, but I thought it. I'm thinking, yeah, this guy's got big dreams. Well, sure as shit, if he didn't, he got into like a Roto-Rooter franchise, and then now he owns his own plumbing company, you know, in North Carolina. And his son was helping him, you know, he was bringing his son along to be the next, you know, when he got too old for it, his son was going to be running the business. But yeah, man, they lost their only son. They got a daughter who's older. She's a couple years older, but yeah, that's I don't know. If it was drugs, man, that would be, you know, you don't know what you're taking nowadays, you know. That shit would kill. I mean, it would have killed us back in our day too, but it just wasn't as deadly. It doesn't seem as it is now.
I got out of so much stupid shit. If I were to try it today, one of those situations would have killed me. So
I was just lucky because my parents had no clue. They thought I was an angel, you know. So I was just smart enough to get away with everything. because I saw my older brother get caught at everything. He was a dumbass, so I knew how to, lay low, not get caught.
And I saw this redneck video of this lady had a front tire, front flat. She put duct tape on it. Crossed it like tic-tac-toe, and I did
Like,
that.
yeah, a lot of these young guys nowadays, like, if my son had a flat tire, I don't know if he'd know how to change it. I mean, I tried showing him, when he was young, and I'd be outside, I'd be doing the brakes or something, but they just had no interest in it. So, if they get a flat tire, they're just going to be standing there like, oh, dude, what do we do?
Oh,
You're
you
on
wanna-
the phone, trying to
Yeah,
Google what to do.
You remember those jacks they had out for a while? They had a slot in the bumper, and if you didn't have that,
Yeah.
if you didn't have that car on a flat surface, fuck.
You'd find out how it tilts over.
Yeah, that didn't last too long. It was only a couple of years they had that. But that happened to me too. It fucking went to one side. I mean, I've seen them. I always tried to bust all the nuts once I had it in the air until I learned you get it to just before it goes up all the way up the road and bust them all loose,
Yeah.
while it's down.
Then you got to have a MacGyver brain to figure out what to do now that your rotor's sitting on the ground,
Yeah, put a block.
and your jack is already jammed into the car and the ground. You can't use that.
Yeah.
You got to figure out how to. Oh shit!
I did that at a girlfriend's dad's house. He had a asphalt driveway. And he didn't get pissed either. It was a perfect indentation where the jack went into. Like that, what was that shape about? It had like a tapering on one side, and it was, I thought, oh fuck, man, what am I gonna do? Dude went to work every day, man. He had half a heart working. And they had a bum brother their dad worked for the Milwaukee Road, so their uncle would come down and get a bag of money every once in a while. Guy had a '68 Wildcat. It was 68, 60. Fucking. If you sat that back seat, you couldn't touch the feet. You couldn't touch your feet on the front driver's seat. Oh my god! They're trying to get comfortable on the sofa. It was like that. Well, Christian, when you're heading back to Thailand or by your pimp friend, up in
As soon as my uncle's lot is being sold.
oh, I thought they were done with that already. Get some cash from that, huh?
Yeah, I need some cash flowing,
I thought you were gonna wait till like winter time, spend the summer back in Norway, and then go back in the winter.
That's what I do.
You said you got to do 6 months there, right? Out of the year.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, I'd be pissed, man, if I had to come back to fucking wintertime after being in warm climate. They just had that earthquake too, so
Oh yeah.
then you got your AIs out there, artificial intelligence shit and bogus videos.
Why? What about that?
I don't understand how they got somebody in a commercial here, like on the internet, and they'll have an AI voice, like a voiceover, their voice. They're already saying what they're saying. What's the point in doing that?
I don't know. Christian, don't you use the AI voice for some of your songs, or all of them?
For all of them, yeah.
All of them, yeah.
I say shit, and we don't recognize that.
I mean, because it's so realistic, I can't tell the difference.
Yeah, but you You go on one of those things and you say it to it like information. You say, Amiga, you say, what's the, how, does it hurt if you fuck your girl in the ass, does it hurt? Well, I don't, it just takes enough of that questions to be asked like that and answers to be given before it starts answering the question. You always slap a bunch of Vaseline in there, you're good. I have no experience at that. I don't reckon. Yeah, like Billy Bob Thornton said, well, the shit, what that lady said, she did the shit right for 2 weeks. Oh, yeah. What time is it by you? In your morning time, Christian? At 3 o'clock?
3 o'clock. Yeah,
3 in the afternoon.
Yes.
yeah, in the afternoon.
Oh, okay. Because I say, man, you got pretty light up.
I've got 9:12 in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that person I knew from that was married to a Norwegian guy. I think he had his restaurants up there where you live. He bought her a new Honda car up there, and then somebody hit it and took off. I go, what did you expect them to do? They're not gonna. They don't have insurance. Fuck. 20 years old too, man. God, that was back. When was that? 2013. Yeah. Yeah, you don't have 20-year-olds usually asking you, telling you they want to sleep with you. Maybe you do, Christian.
Oh, I have plenty. Not here in Norway though.
Why do you think men get bolder with shit as they get older and lose their looks? What little looks they do have. But it makes, for some reason, they get bold.
It don't matter how old they get or how bad they look, they still go to the beauty parlor and get their hair done. It always amazes me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know what?
I
The lady that cut my hair, I've been seeing. She was like a friend of a friend person. Like since the '90s, I was going to see her in the middle '90s, and she had this one lady come in, and the lady had like a basic short hairdo, quick haircut with older woman, just part down the middle kind of thing. And I said to her once, I said, that lady come in here, and she paid you $40 to do nothing but talk to her and fluff her hair up.
Yeah.
She goes, wow, ain't that? She goes, yeah, ain't that great?
It's a good gig, huh?
Well, I always told Cheryl that I looked younger than her. I always teased her about it. I just teased her about being. She's around the same age as me.
yeah,
You're younger.
I was only in the Philippines for 3 days, but I had 2 different ladies.
Take
They're
that
still-
money.
And they're still waiting for me to come back.
I'm sure they are. All by them lonesome.
One of them is
Turning
lonesome.
trip.
Yeah, the first time I went over to meet my wife, right? I get to the airport. It's probably 10 at night, 11 at night, Manila. She brought like 4 or 5 of her cousins with her, right? I guess
Mhm.
so she'd be safe, but I think it was more because their cousins wanted to see what kind of foreigner she got, So we're all getting in a van, and I said, "Yeah, I want to go to a hotel. I want to try to get some sleep." And so we go to the hotel, and they just dropped me and my wife off. And I asked my wife, I said, "Are you staying with me?" And she said, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, okay." I wasn't expecting it, I mean, just getting right off the plane, but I wanted to find out she didn't want anybody else knocking on my door at the hotel,
Well, I thought you were going to say
They don't
y'all.
waste any time over there, you know.
I thought you were going to say, well, once they got you, they don't want to lose you. I thought you were going to say that you all got into it.
Yeah. No, if you'd have seen your cousins, it wouldn't have happened. But they believe in that saying, "Carpe diem," right? Seize the day. They don't let one opportunity go. That's why it doesn't surprise me a Christian had 2 women in 3 days, because they latch on to you. If you're free, that's the first question they ask you, huh, Tony? Are you married?
When I saw mine, because they used to allow people to go in there and wait, so it'd be like a separate. You cross this road and you come out the
you
terminal.
have to cross the road. They have an alphabet with your last name, your family name, and they'd be waiting underneath that letter, right?
The guy said to me, there were 2 guys. One looked Spaniard, Filipino, and the other guy was a Asian Filipino. And at that particular door, you can only change so much money. I mean, I was up like fucking 27 hours, man. I'm tired. And I gave the guy $3. He goes, $3? That it? I'm like, fuck, there's $3 more you got a minute ago. And then the other guy said, what about me? My wife said, that your deal's with him, not me. But when I saw her walk out, I went, oh, man, I get the.
You at the airport too?
Ooh, huh? Yeah, she was there like 8-9 hours. Man.
My flight was delayed a little bit too. They were waiting there for a while.
Well, they make how many trips a day, and they go 6 times a day to and from, something like that, down from Butuan to Manila. I think 7 a.m. they start, and the last one's you get up here at 6:30 or I don't know, something like that.
And I stayed when I went over the first time because my wife was living and working in the Metro Manila area, so we just stayed there the whole 10 days. And like I said, I regret not going down to Mindanao to meet her mother, because then her mother passed away like 3 months after I came back.
I did that
to meet her mother.
I went that the second year. First year it took 11 days. I go, I don't know. The next year, that's when I started getting more time. When I took my vacation, I tried picking a day off schedule. We had to pick off day off schedule. You'd have a 4-day week and then a 7 on, 1 off, 3 on, 2 off, that kind of thing like that.
Yeah.
And
the next time we went back, I spent 3 weeks there.
Dude, we had
our oldest 2 kids.
I had 32 days. So I stayed there for 3 weeks, almost a month. When I used to come back home, they smoked like crazy. My body was messed up for a couple of days. I missed a haircut appointment.
Back then, I had to reschedule. You got 3 weeks on your passport, right? Without needing a visa or anything. So.
No, yeah, you didn't need all that. You just came in and that was it.
And you got 3 weeks, yeah.
I think it was, I forget what it was, if it was 30 or 60 days, 59 days or something like that. That was 2012. I forget, but that was my first trip. I go, I'm going to be ready. I'm going to have all these, money orders, travelers checks. Fuck. And then I find out unless you got an account at a bank, they won't do it. So I had to go to a money changer, and lose 2%. Like 2 points or something like that. I was on vacation, so I didn't give a shit. What I spent. I'd never been there before. All I know is my first experience being here, I didn't want to leave here. And to get back here, when you're working and you get to that last 10 years, you get into your 50s, and you got that last big hump to get over. That lasts for freaking ever.
Yep.
For me, it did. I'm like, when is it gonna come? And then it comes, and I'm thinking,
time has flown. You've been retired 3 or 4 years. The time.
This will be 5 years this year.
Really?
Yeah.
What month?
November.
Same with me in November. Last of
I,
October. It's been
but when
3.5
it came,
years now.
the point is when it came, after it, signing those papers was like up with the excitement, right below the having children, But I just looked at it like, what was I freaking sweating for? Is it just, it seems so far away because I wanted to get back here so bad to live here.
Well, I retired. Mine was like during that scandemic. So I didn't even normally we'd have a going away luncheon for retired guys, your coworkers and
Yeah,
stuff. But
they buy us
didn't
a
even do
cake.
that. It was just like, well, send your paperwork in, go it. I'll process, turn in on my phone, my laptop, my keys, whatever I had, and that was it.
They, I like, uh, they used to give us cakes, big sheet cake, and they stopped doing that because of the pandemic.
They did send me a big ass wooden,
Hey,
a wooden placard, that said, in appreciation for your over 37 years, government service or whatever.
hey, I went to City Hardware yesterday. And I need some padlocks because I have gates now,
Yeah.
and I bought a four key to light for a four set of master locks. It was the first time I'd seen that name since I left there 25 years ago. And they
So
closed the Milwaukee plant last year March. I'd have got 62 years in. I mean, I would have got 39. I would have 39.
you got a gate at the end of your driveway now?
Yeah. I got two side gates. About taking a shower the other day. I was thinking, since the sun's been out, I didn't need no water heater. That water is plenty warm. That was the first time I ever took a full shower without a bucket. Oh, that's so freaking nice.
So what
Now,
does your gate swing open? Does it slide? How's it open?
they swing. They just swing. I have them swinging in. The big gate in the front. It has two rods on the bottom. We got that hole drilled.
Right. So you got
So
a
you
one man gate on the side, like for just a walk through?
No, I just leave it. When I get up in the morning and take them to school, I come back. I open up all the gates or unlock them, I should say. It's been pretty nice. Some other guys went home for a week, so it's been quiet in the morning here, or all day, as a matter of fact.
So nobody else lives in your house, huh? Just you, your wife, and your son.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, they go to church tomorrow.
And you got the in-laws right over the wall, right?
Yeah, they haven't worked up to full time over there yet. I know I let my mother-in-law garden out and back here, but I keep thinking, man, it'd be nice to have an above ground pool. I might get one of those. I don't know yet. We just fucking sit around all day. I mean, geez. I took out my shop vac to vacuum up some of the dirt. One portion of the parking area next to the side door, and I didn't have too much ambition. I just did a little bit, and I go, that's enough. Time to go back inside and do nothing. I don't know. Time is it? It's only 9:30.
Yep, 9:25.
26 here. So when you going back, Christian? You say September?
I don't know the exact time yet.
Uh,
Are you waiting they have to sell house and property or just property or?
Yeah, it's a small house with a big property. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
He's still got a kid there.
Yeah, I need to travel back to Norway sometimes to see him, but
Mm. Ooh, I was wrong. Well, now they have that new pump, that new motor, that pump the water in from the tank. That shit comes up gushing, man.
Like a fire hose, huh?
It would be the envy of everyone around here if they could see the amount. How
What, for your
fast it comes.
shower, huh?
Yeah, for the sink. I flipped it over. Like at first, I said, "Yeah, this stuff." There's a lot of pipes here that got to be burped or whatever you call.
Right.
So they had a leak. Now they got a leak because he weren't put in that good by the shower. And I didn't want to mess with the kitchen one because everything's different here. It isn't under the sink by me. You go there, you disconnect the lines, you put a new one in. It's a little different here. They slide all that shit into that plastic pipe right away. That rubber, whatever the hell it is. So I wait till the what do you call it, guy come back, and he's got to put up a couple of things for me in the shower, like a soap dispenser, because when you have that cake of soap, it's all smooshy and shit, being wet all the time. Then I bought something to put my wash rags on, shampoo or whatever, body wash. Body wash all day, keep that on the floor, man. So he doesn't know it yet, but that's what he's gonna do when they come back.
So I finally talked to my daughter down in Florida, the one that used to be a Marine, and since she split with her boyfriend, I said, "What do you plan on doing? Moving or?" Because she got a big ass house. It's like 5 bedrooms.
What for?
Huh?
Yeah.
Well, she bought it. She said, "Well, I have a big family, so and I don't think she ever plans on having kids. So she just
What
bought
part
it
of
so
Florida?
family can come visit in the Tampa area. So, but now, she's stuck with that mortgage on her own. Boyfriend's no longer with her to help pay. So, it's a little. You buy a house for $500,000. That's a pretty hefty mortgage, So.
Oh,
But I mean, she's making good money, but that still eats up a good, you got to
is
be
that the
paying
one?
what, 25, $3,000 a month, right? For a
That's not the
mortgage
one on
a house like that.
about that two something. Isn't that the one that was on disability?
Yeah, she got retired, medically retired E5. Yeah. But I assumed if you were medically retired, you automatically were 100% VA. That's not the case. She said, no,
What's that?
no, that's not the case. If you are medically retired from the military, that does not necessarily mean you are 100% VA disabled.
Oh,
right? I thought
yeah.
he did, but apparently not. So,
Well, Ronald could answer that question easy.
yeah. But I know. My daughter says, yeah, you're not. She's not 100%. She's still got to fight for everything like everybody else does. That's why I don't even bother going near those bastards. I ain't begging for nothing.
They're trying to increase and give money away, so they ruin Social Security, ruin the I can't think of a fucking word for it. Because there's how much it comes in and how much goes out, and that trust bond fills the gap. Well, unless they increase the retirement age, or they up their buddies, which I don't see why it's such a big deal. They up their buddies that they don't have to pay after 173 200. If they have to have them pay into FICA, then we'll be fine for like 80 years.
I don't think you and I have to worry about it.
Well, they're going to cut unless they do one of the two things. You know, I remember Reagan going, "Well, you got to do your fair share." What about his fucking buddies? You know, let them do their fair share. Fucking, those guys make you. I mean, anyone you're talking like somebody like we want to bet on a football game. No, that's our fucking money. You know, our money helped pay for our parents, great uncles, and all that. Now it's our
It's been a
turn.
Ponzi scheme because they've robbed that fund for a long time. So
They're looking to run that fucker. They're trying to look like good. And where did they get off with that? Elon, fuck motherfucker, remind me of Henry Kissinger, man. You got to get his boring ass out. Fuck him. All this stuff that they said was all bullshit anyway. You know, in technical sense, there's things, but you know, the fucker is acting like that because they don't want to put the money into the system because they need a reboot and something bad. Like dude said, and since the '70s, they've been asking for it, and then they get told no. So it's no wonder that somebody's name either mistakenly gets left on the system. They're not paying the guy or the lady, but their name is in the system. Because when my wife came here, when my wife came to America,
there's plenty of people collecting benefits that they didn't even work a day and pay in for because they don't have any documentation, so they're just getting paid off to be a vote. Okay,
not every one of them.
There's millions of social security numbers being used fraudulently.
My wife's number they gave her, it apparently was they gave to somebody else.
Yeah, imagine that.
Yeah,
that's how closely they checked, huh? But yet you or I, law-abiding citizen, we owe them $10. They're going to find our ass somehow, right? By our social security number. But they got millions of them out there. They don't know who the hell they belong to. You know.
I know these late. On one of my bus routes, I picked up these older workers. Some were old, some were young, and they were from I think Turkey or somewhere, or Syria. And the first day it was all smiles, and then I thought about it. I thought, how the fuck does this person get a Medicare card, and they haven't even been in this country fucking a year?
Yeah, imagine that, huh?
You know.
That's what they're doing, giving them SSDI. Okay, come on now. If you never worked and paid $1 into Social Security, you get free SSDI the rest of your life.
Not SSI. SSDI is based on a work record, and you could have somebody. Yeah. But SSI is a national welfare system, just like as opposed to the states, because a lot of these folks use Medicare and Medicaid together. But that all I give a shit about is my shit. And I heard Bernie Sanders in his speech talk just like that dude that's got the channel. Everything he read was word for word. So he must have been watching that guy's channel. Bernie's a kick. Rich fucker's a millionaire himself.
Yeah, he's banging on all the damn rich people. He's for the slaving man, right? Yeah, right. He's got like 6 properties, right? How the hell did he get rich, huh? Being a social servant, right?
Somebody asked a question. They said, "Where do you get off getting all this?" That wasn't done. That wasn't done illegally. There was.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so if you're fucking 85 or whatever the hell you are, what the fuck do you need a couple 100,000 or $1 million for? You fucking greedy? Oh shit! Motherfuckers eat cheap. They get taken off.
Why are you still on the payroll if you're 80 years old? Why don't you let the young people?
Well, you want them to groom them because the younger ones, younger than us, they're not going to give a fuck about us. That's for sure. Most of them, anyway.
Look, I don't care. I hope they perp march. I don't care what letter they have after their, whether it's a D, an R, an I, whatever party they want to belong to. If they're a freaking crook, I want to see them frog marched.
That fraud.
Yeah.
Keep my money coming. I don't give a fuck about nothing. I hate to sound that way, but I had my time. Let all the. I said this to a guy on somebody had a live stream. I said, you know what? I'm tired of fucking of tangling with all this shit all my life like that. Let them younger ones pick up the torch because I've had enough.
The problem is most of the younger ones, they don't know. They've been programmed to just do whatever the hell they're told
Oh, okay, they'll go,
by
okay.
the ones in charge. You know,
Yeah.
they've been programmed. Oh, you have to wear a mask. Don't ask questions. Why? You got to wear a mask.
I have year to date so far. My experiences have been fantastic with the people I called. When I had to call, I called Chicago from here. I loaded my phone big time. So I was on. I kept that phone line only holds so many people that are waiting. But when you call it up, it automatically kicks you off. I did that for about 20 minutes. And then it took it and put me, on the bank of calls we waited on. So when I got the lady on there, as long as I show them gratitude and appreciation when I'm talking to them, especially now. They're just cutting these fuckers left and right. But I could tell that it makes a difference to them because I could feel it. I could hear it in their voice. I say thank you for taking my call. Thank you for taking my call. I appreciate all the work you do.
It's like the chef cooking your food. You don't piss them off before you get food served.
Well, I do appreciate that because I'm way the hell over here, and all you can do through Manila is they can guide you as to who to talk to over there in Chicago. So I said, okay, that's good. So I had good service so far. So, but the thing with my, they said the guy in that video, the guy's got the channel. He says, yeah, if your birthday's on the first of the month, that's when you get it. But if your birthday's like on the 3rd, it'll be like the middle of the month or some shit. And my kid,
my shit's the 4th Wednesday of the month. My birthday's at the end of the month.
I get mine on the 3rd of the month every month. Matter of fact, I got mine and I got my son's February 28th, and then the next payment's April 3rd. So I think they're just doing this by alphabet with the last names, just getting the shit out. They don't have any time. They don't have time to sit there and sort through all this shit.
Did you get April's already?
Yeah, I did. I got my son.
Was there any increase? None?
I don't think.
You don't know?
Look at that down. Let me see. I don't know if I get on there yet.
Because I heard some people might be getting an increase, and I don't know who the hell it is.
Oh, look, if anything, a 2.5% or whatever, 2.8, that's not going to look like a whole lot. I had my phone set off and I turned it on again. Today, what day is it? What day you got? Today's Friday in America?
Today's the 4th, Friday the 4th.
Yeah, I got
you right now.
I got my check. I got on the 1st. My son's came on the 3rd. Was deposited on the 3rd because they told. They said
they took them both at the same time. They do that with my daughter.
They did that a couple times. I'm like, Jesus, this is supposed to be the middle of the month, and they're giving me this. Well, they gave me mine. They said, when I look online, it says next payment April 3rd. April 3rd is what, Wednesday? Or Thursday? My Thursday.
April 3rd was yesterday,
Yeah, that's why I got mine.
which was a Thursday.
I don't know, I got his on the 3rd, I got mine on the 1st. Let
Yeah,
me
I only got
see.
one more year of that. You're gonna get yours
What-
done
what-
some
what are they
18, right?
I think either that or 17.
18 graduate high school, I think, is the rule. So,
I don't
but over
Well,
there they
see,
graduate high school early, don't they?
see that? Yeah, they do. See that child tax care credit? I thought, well, I'll have that until they're 18. They stopped that at 17.
Because mine's already 17, and she'll be 18 in October, and then not till she graduates high school do they quit it. So she'll be 18 in about 7 months by that time. So.
I'm gonna go check it. I'm gonna go check it right now. Of course, I have a Chinese phone and the internet's slow here, so. What the fuck you doing? Eating soup?
Eating soup? No, I just poured a drink with ice cubes. It slurped a little bit. Yeah.
Sip, suck, swirl, and swallow.
Filled it a little too full.
They cut my payment off for or held my payment for my what do you call it? I got VPN. Like, what? God damn! Didn't we just go round and round about this shit 3 months ago?
Yeah, my
Oh, look at-
VPN should be up pretty soon. I know I got like a year and a half, but I guess I got to go into the account and look when it's, because I paid for that NordVPN, a good year and a half ago.
I got a better one. I got ExpressVPN has more servers than Norton.
No, Nord, Nord.
Yeah, I know. Let's see. I'll go back. When was that supposed to take effect? February?
When was what supposed to take effect?
The increase in
January. So when you log in, don't they do a verify where they like text your US phone number or something?
I haven't sent an email.
Oh.
No, mine's been the same. December's is the same. I don't think we've gotten that one yet. I think we got. I'll go back to November here. Oops. Let's see. Oh yeah. Well, I hope did it go up or down? Okay. The horses, man. Seven. Oh yeah. Damn it. Shit. Went up 2.5. Whatever we get, 2.5% or 2.8. Yeah. November's is different.
Yeah, it went up 2.5%, something like that.
Yeah, I look back to October. Yeah. Let me see. Yeah. About $50, $60, man, something like that. Yeah, them poor folks, the folks that are gonna have the hardest hit are gonna be the ones that are on SSI because, oops, you know, Trump in there, he's looking to put the squeeze in some of those folks. Some of those folks, I used to drive I drove the transit system. I had a lot of those folks riding the bus. There are a lot more that are deserving than there aren't. You know, it's a real,
Deserving of what? What are you talking about?
the SSI, it's like a national welfare system. I said, those are the ones that are gonna be hit the hardest. With either outright taking it away from them. What did Ronald say last week? Didn't he say Michael got what, minus 40 grand? Something like that. I forgot about it. I don't think we know the details, but something like that. Well, the twit must be here. It must be the twit. Twit or what's his name? Lost his mother, Simon Kennedy. Passed away last week. I think we all sent condolences.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bitch, you know it's inevitable, but it still sucks.
Yeah.
You know, I just hope that you know, all the in human looking form, but your soul, that you can go, you know, you can right all the wrongs, you know, or something like, you know, just enjoy other folks from your family's company that you've never met but always wondered about. You know, my dad's dad, I was probably missed him more than about everybody else. After he passed away, I told my mom, I said, just call me Al. His name was Al. American name, Albino. So just call me Al. So when I had my first son, his mother wanted to name him Alex. I wanted something else. She started freaking out, you know. So okay, forget it. So I said, well, yeah, you know, some people call him Al, some of his friends. But his friends, the friends he has, the people like him because he doesn't lie. He most definitely got that from his mom. He won't lie for you. You know, he won't lie when you ask him a direct question. That's why he has a lot of respect for his friends. Well, we've been under. On 34. Times are gonna be in a half hour. 10:30. Something like that. You know, one of my supervisors, ex driver that I've known since I started there. He became now he's a station supervisor. But I see this picture of him now because he's in the company. He's probably up for division manager because he got the shaft last time around. Because he was tight with the lady that runs it now. I used to drive bus with the lady that's in charge of it now. You know, her and her sidekick. I look at this picture. He married a Filipina. Riezel Marcelo. I don't know what his number 2 wife divorced him for, but I can imagine what it is because
he's like one of those like clean freaks. Don't move that vase there. It's got to be in a certain spot. You know, his he's got two little kids. With wife number one got rid of him because he was what was that, obsessive? I forget the term with that. But he'd sit there and yeah, she left me for that. I'm thinking, I said, dude, you got little kids, man. I said, you can't be bitching them out like they're 15 years old and they've done it wrong 10 times. You're supposed to teach them. So he doesn't answer back because the company might be monitoring his responses. So I see a picture of him in a tux with the female there. So I don't know how that's going to go over. Because you can tell him till you're blue in the face not to be that way, and he'll always be that way. He's really gonna freak out I wonder if he's ever been here though. Because he was talking about Filipinos to me. He goes, yeah, I was always curious. I was always wondering about them. I said, well, Jeff, you're married. Yeah, no, he didn't say, yeah. So he must have been on the rocks back then. But he'll be on the rocks again, especially if he comes over here, and his wife, family, lives in a place with dirt walls or dirt floors and holes in the walls. He's gonna freak out. Uh-oh. Russell Brand has been charged with rape, sexual assault. Man, that's going to be pretty popular these days. Chick doesn't get a long-term relationship, so she fucks with him. Tony Orlando, yeah. This is just picture of Tony Orlando, man, when he was young. No, I thought Freddie Fender's saying about his memory test. Larry Walker. Larry Walker. Larry Walker.
The Johnny?
What's that?
It says any relation to Johnny?
No.
Johnny Walker. Oh.
Chuck, you know what Johnny Walker? No. Yeah. One of my former co-workers, this is her birthday. She's 50 something. I don't know the age, but I don't know, she hasn't been married yet. But she had cancer and everything. She had 2 boyfriends. But she was a real hottie when she was younger. When she got over that cancer, man, she's come back to work. She went on a little weight the other day. And she's smoking. I'm like, what are you doing? You got a lot of people here that care about you. But this is exactly how I think. She goes in the back. She was in the same dealership. After she's had a car for 10 years, She goes in, and the guy said, well, what are you looking for? I want this car right here. He's like going through all this shit. Don't you want to drive it? He goes, no, come on, get the paperwork going. Let's try to get the hell out of here. I'd buy a Honda here, but the nearest There's Honda dealers. I got in Europe. Oh, I used to rub my eyes
Take
real
the
hard.
pill.
Yeah. I used to rub my eyes real hard. And all of a sudden, if I rub them at all, it gets black and blue. Sort of like Uncle Fester. I'll tell you. Yeah. Should cut this off now. Christian, there. I'm gonna get going.
Okay. All right. Good night. See you next week, maybe.
All
Good night,
right,
people.
yeah.
See you,
Maybe.
Christian.
See you, Christian.
Yeah.
Good
See you
night,
next time.
everybody. Good night to the one person out there watching.